Okay. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody out there in Las Vegas and wherever you're seeing us. Football is definitely here, and what a great slate there was last week. And I believe, Zach, we talked about the Ohio State hosting Oklahoma last week. And man, did we cover that one correctly with Oklahoma going in there and actually watching them put the flag on the middle of the field as they were running off. And, hey, what are you going to do? So let's move over to this week where we're going to see the number 3 Clemson Tigers. They're on the road, Zach, taking on the number 16 Louisville Cardinals in a conference showdown Saturday afternoon. And I remember saying one thing particular last week that I think Ohio State was ranked number 2, and I believe I said they sucked. Well, we've got more suck in this game. Number 3, Clemson Tigers, they suck also. They remain undefeated with a 14-6 win against number 13 Auburn last week. Louisville, they dumped North Carolina 47-35 on the road, and it sets up a nice match coming into this weekend. Now, the Tigers, they've won all 3 meetings between these scores by a total of 15 points, and that includes a 42-36 win last year in their most recent meeting. And Zach, I think there's going to be a little bit of revenge. This game is always close, but you got to remember Clemson had a lot more talent last year on offense than they do this year. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to say their entire team sucks, but their offense is nowhere to be found. They rode their defense last week to a big win. They kept Auburn out of the end zone, and I couldn't believe it, but the Tigers gave up 11 sacks in that game. So, what are you going to say? The time of possession, 32 minutes to 27 minutes that Auburn actually had. And then they had some turnovers and things like that. The Kelly Bryant, he won the starting job from Deshaun Watson, who's now playing for Houston. And he completed 35 of 51 passes for 417 yards and a touchdown. Had an interception, but he wasn't all that bad. He's about all they have, though, on their offense. Louisville, I love this Louisville team, Zach. I'm telling you right now, they could put up the numbers. They've got the better quarterback, the former last year's Heisman Trophy winner, Lamar Jackson. He was 55 of 85 yards this year for 771 yards, 5 touchdown passes. And I'll tell you what keeps other teams off balance. He leads the team with 239 yards and 3 scores on the ground. So I'm going to be looking at a couple factors. One, Blanton Crate, he's hit all 7 extra points and all 5 field goal attempts, with the long being just around 40 points. I think when you have that as a better option, that could really give you, that extra added couple points here and there in a game that could be a lot closer than what a lot of people think, but we're going to be taking that in consideration. The main thing is Lamar Jackson. He's a lot more versatile than Jarrett Stidham for Clemson. Louisville has the explosive offensive attack. Jackson racked up 525 yards and 6 scores in the win last week against North Carolina. If that doesn't rack up some confidence, I don't know what will. But look for this to be tooth and nail, but there's 2 ways to win. Louisville can win straight up, or Louisville covers the spread, taking the +3. I'm going with the home team underdog in this game. Zach, let's hear it from you.
Yep, I'm in agreement on this one, Hollis. We talked about a little bit of angles for college football last week. And here, what I see is a little bit overreaction. Louisville, week 1, struggled, barely could pull out that win. Last week, they looked horrible for 3 quarters against North Carolina before they went in reverse mode and covered that point spread by a half point. So that's what's fresh in people's minds. This isn't the Lamar Jackson of last year. Of course not. You don't see it in the NFL when a quarterback runs all over the field and it breaks out. Defenses adjust. ACC has adjusted, and other teams have adjusted on ways to compact that defensive or the line of scrimmage and make sure all those angles aren't there for Lamar Jackson. So that has changed. What hasn't changed is Louisville still putting up points. Louisville still has a fast team. They have great players on both sides of the football. And I think sometimes last week Clemson won that game against Auburn, against Jared Stepman, but they won that game. And sometimes people will look for that bye early on a team like Auburn. They wanted Auburn to win, that SEC team to win against Clemson. It didn't come out to fruition. And I think this week Clemson's a little bit overvalued against the Louisville team that has their number a little bit. Let's not forget that game they eked out a few years back. And I think this is just a case, as last week I talked about, where you take the opposite. Sometimes odds makers are wrong. So this is one where you have to read the odds a little bit better on this one. Clemson should not be a 3-point favorite. And if this was reversed the other way, maybe we would be siding with Clemson. But the odds are wrong on this one, so I'll be siding with Louisville.
So you're thinking that, when you say the odds are wrong, Zach, and I also believe it, but do you believe that it should be more close to pick'em, or actually that you have Louisville as the outright favorite?
Yeah, I believe Louisville should be the outright favorite in that 3.5, 4-point range. They've looked sloppy. Let's just face it. That's why they're ranked 16 or whatever they are right now. Lamar Jackson struggled a little bit, but hey, they're still winning, and they win this game against Clemson, and they're going to move up into the top 12.
Well, I agree, and I think that Louisville probably, I would have made them, if I had to make the line, I would have made them like 2, 2.5. I don't think I'd put them at 3 on the road, at home against Clemson, because there are some, unknown factors. But the known factor is I really think that Clemson has one offensive weapon, and that's basically it. So let's go with the Louisville Cardinals and the points, the +3, and stay tuned. We're going to have the NFL, where we're going to be looking at the Green Bay going into Atlanta Sunday night on the NBC TV games.